world's greatest spiritual teachers from ancient to modern times have shared the view that the deepest truth of our being is not the property of one particular religion or spiritual tradition, but can be found within the heart of each person. Said, "Where is that moon that never rises or sets? Where is that soul that is neither with nor without us? Don't say it is here or there. All creation is that, but for the eyes that can see." In the story of the Tower of Babel, humanity fragmented into countless languages, beliefs, cultures, and interests. Babel means literally the gate of God. The gate is our thinking mind, our conditioned structures. For those who come to realize their true nature, their essence beyond name and form, they are initiated into the great mystery of what lies beyond the gate. An ancient parable, the elephant parable, has been used to describe how various traditions are actually all pointing to one great truth. A group of blind people are each touching a different part of an elephant, getting a certain impression of what an elephant is. The person standing at the elephant's leg describes the elephant as being like a tree. The person at the tail says the elephant is like a rope. The elephant is like a spear, says the one standing at the tusk. If one touches the ear, it seems the elephant is like a fan. The person touching the side is adamant that the elephant is like a wall. The problem is, we touch our piece of the elephant, and we believe our experience is the only truth. We don't acknowledge or appreciate that each person's experience is a different facet of the same animal. The perennial philosophy is an understanding that all spiritual and religious traditions share a single universal truth, a mystical or transcendent reality upon which foundation all spiritual knowledge and doctrine has grown. Swami Vivekananda summed the perennial teaching when he said, "The end of all religions is the realizing of God in the soul. That is the one universal religion." In this film, when we use the word God, it is simply a metaphor for the transcendent, pointing to the great mystery beyond the limited egoic mind. To realize one's true self or immanent self is to realize one's divine nature. Every soul has the potential to manifest a new higher level of consciousness, to awaken from its slumber and its identification with form. The writer and visionary Aldous Huxley, known for his book Brave New World, also wrote a book which he entitled The Perennial Philosophy, in which he writes about the one teaching that comes back over and over in history, taking the form of the culture in which it is realized. He writes, "The perennial philosophy is expressed most succinctly in the Sanskrit formula, Tat Tvam Asi, that thou art. The Atman, or immanent eternal self, is one with Brahman, the absolute principle of all existence. And the last end of every human being is to discover the fact for himself, to find out who he or she really is." Each tradition is like a facet of a jewel, reflecting a unique perspective of the same truth, while at the same time echoing and illuminating each other. Whatever the language and conceptual framework used, all religions that reflect the perennial teaching have some notion that there is a union with something greater, something beyond us. It is possible to learn from and integrate the teachings from one or many sources without identifying a sense of self with them. It is said that all true spiritual teachings are simply fingers pointing to the transcendent truth. If we hold on to the dogma, the teaching, for comfort, we will be stunted in our spiritual evolution. To realize truth beyond any concept is letting go of all clinging and attachment, letting go of all religious concepts. From the ego's perspective, the finger pointing you to samadhi is pointing straight toward the abyss. St. John of the Cross said, "If one wishes to be sure of the road they tread, one must close their eyes and walk in the dark." Samadhi begins with a On the path to awakening, unless we are in Samadhi, there are always two polarities, two doorways one can enter. Two dimensions, one towards pure consciousness, the other towards the phenomenal world. The upward current toward the absolute, and the downward current toward Maya and all that is manifested, both seen and unseen. The relationship between relative and absolute could be summed up in the following quote by Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. Wisdom is knowing I am nothing. Love is knowing I am everything. And between the two, my life moves. What is born of this union is a new divine consciousness. Something is born out of the marriage or union of these polarities, or the collapse of dualistic identification. Yet what is born is not a thing, and it was never born. Consciousness flowers, creating something new, creating what you could call a perennial trinity. God the Father, the transcendent, unknowable, and changeless, is united with the divine feminine, which is everything that changes. This union brings about an alchemical transformation, a kind of death and rebirth. In the Vedic teachings, the divine union is represented by two fundamental forces, Shiva and Shakti. The names and faces of the various gods change throughout history, but their fundamental attributes remain. What is born out of this union is a new divine consciousness, a new way of being in the world. Two polarities, inseparably one, a universal energy that is without center, free of limitation. It is pure love. There is nothing to be gained or lost, because it is utterly empty, but absolutely full. Whether it is the mystery schools of Mesopotamia, the spiritual traditions of the Babylonians and Assyrians, religions of ancient Egypt, Nubian and Kemetic cultures of ancient Africa, the shamanic and native traditions around the world, the mysticism of ancient Greece, the Gnostics, the non-dualists, the Buddhists, the Taoists, Jews, Zoroastrians, Jains, Muslims, or Christians, one finds that their common link is their highest spiritual insights have allowed their adherents to realize Samadhi. The actual word Samadhi means something like to realize the sameness or oneness in all things. It means union. It is uniting all aspects of yourself. But do not mistake intellectual understanding for the actual realization of Samadhi. It is your stillness, your emptiness, that unites all levels of the spiral of life. through the ancient teaching of samadhi that humanity can begin to understand the common source of all religions and come into alignment once again with the spiral of life, Great Spirit, Dhamma, or the Tao. The spiral is the bridge that extends from the microcosm to the macrocosm. From your DNA to the inner lotus of energy that extends through the chakras, to the spiral arms of galaxies. Every level of soul is expressed through the spiral as ever-evolving branches, living, exploring. True samadhi is realizing the emptiness of all levels of self, all sheaths of the soul. The spiral is the endless play of duality and the cycle of life and death. At times, we forget our connection to the source. The lens we look through is very small, and we identify with being a limited creature creeping upon the earth, only to once again complete the journey back to the source, to the center that is everywhere. Chuan Tzu said, "When there is no more separation between this and that, it is called the still point of the Tao." At the still point, in the center of the spiral, one can see the infinite in all things. The ancient mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, has a poetic meaning. One awakens or realizes the jewel within the lotus. Your true nature awakens within the soul, within the world, as the world. Using the Hermetic principle, as above, so below, as below, so above, we can use analogies to begin to understand the relationship between mind and stillness, relative and absolute. A way to begin to grasp the non-conceptual nature of samadhi is to use the analogy of the black hole. A black hole is traditionally described as a region of space with a massive gravitational field so powerful that no light or matter can escape. New theories postulate that all objects, from the tiniest microscopic particles to macrocosmic formations like galaxies, have a black hole or mysterious singularity at their center. In this analogy, we're going to use this new definition of a black hole as the center that is everywhere. In Zen, there are many poems and koans that bring us face to face with the gateless gate. One must pass the gateless gate to realize samadhi. An event horizon is a boundary in space-time beyond which events cannot affect an outside observer, which means that whatever is happening beyond the event horizon is unknowable to you. You could say that the event horizon of a black hole is analogous to the gateless gate. It is the threshold between the self and no self. There is no me that passes the event horizon. In the center of a black hole is the one-dimensional singularity, containing the mass of billions of suns in an unimaginably small space, effectively an infinite mass, literally a universe in something infinitesimally smaller than a grain of sand. The singularity is something unfathomable, beyond time and space. According to physics, movement is impossible. The existence of things is impossible. Whatever it is, it does not belong to the world of perception. Yet it cannot be described as merely stillness. It is beyond stillness and movement. When you realize the center that is everywhere and nowhere, duality breaks down. Form and emptiness, time and the timeless. One could call it a dynamic stillness, or a pregnant emptiness, within the center of absolute darkness. The Taoist teacher Lao Tzu said, "Darkness within darkness, the gateway to all understanding."
What Illuminati does not want you to KKNOW. There is a power within you that can change the way you see the world. It is your sixth sense, your third eye. The third eye is not really a part of the physical body. It is part of the second body, which is etheric body, the subtle body of the Sushma Sharir. Your etheric body is a body which is similar to your physical body over which it is superimposed. It has a corresponding spot in the physical body, but it is not part of it. That is why physiology cannot believe that there exists a third eye or anything like it, because your skull can be analyzed, penetrated, x-rayed, as there is no physical entity which can be said to be the third eye. So far, the closest reference scientists discovered on the psychical body is the pineal gland. This secret is something which secret societies and the Illuminati have been knowing for many years. The third eye is part of the subtle body, the Sushma Sharir. The third eye allows you to perceive the world beyond the capabilities of your physical senses. Once the third eye's power is harnessed, you will be able to see things you have never imagined before, like other people's auras. You will also be able to see the spiritual dimension and receive clairvoyant messages clearly, most especially from your spirit guide. Basically, it will allow you to see things you have never seen before, hear the divine sounds you haven't heard before, feel impressions and feelings that you haven't felt before, realize thoughts and insights which are alien out of this world. However, there are many instances when the third eye is blocked. There are various causes to a blockage in the sixth sense, and it is important to identify it first so appropriate action can be taken. Basically, the cause of blockage can be classified into blockages caused by yourself or by other people. You can cause a blockage to your sixth sense by letting fear, anxiety or disbelief take over you. Are you scared of seeing gross or scary images? Fear of unknown. Blockage can be also because of past life karmic influence, past lives' tragic death, or lack of spiritual lifestyle in past lives. Are you doubting whether you possess a third eye or not? Do you believe it is real? Disbelief can also be a cause to block the sixth sense. If these are the reasons why you cannot open your third eye, you have to learn to let go and release these negative emotions. They are only blocking you from a spiritual journey that will significantly improve your life. It is also possible that the blockage can be done by other people. If you have a skeptic friend or relative with a strong disbelief in your spiritual life or taking away your self-respect, this may cause a temporary or even a permanent emotional blockage to your intuitive senses. This is a more complex cause to deal with, as it is hard to sway a person's belief or self-respect. The best option is to create a harmonious relationship with this other person, one that stands on the foundation of respect of each other's beliefs. Practice a healthy spiritual and meditative lifestyle.